A very good afternoon and our sincerest apologies to all of you. My name is Jamie and this afternoon Adrian is on camera with me once again. We do apologize for the late start for those of you that were expecting us 7 minutes ago. We've just had one of those afternoons where gremlins have struck on every side. I didn't make it out in the first vehicle. Mila stopped working, came back and swapped to Paka. Brent went out in his vehicle and then he had to come back, and then the stream, you don't want to know the details. You are on a live safari from the Masai Mara in Kenya. Obviously, you know, relatively remote in its setup, which means sometimes these things happen. Because this is a live safari, you can send through your questions on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter is how you can get hold of us. I got distracted, I'm sorry. Or on the comments section of whatever particular platform you find yourself watching us on. I want to get over there because there are lions over there, exactly where Ralph had them yesterday at the start of the sunset safari, and in fact I think he spent most of his safari with them. Do you think I can find my way there? I don't quite understand how I've managed to miss where I turn off to get there. Can't be that hard. I must have had to go off round the back. I can drive straight there. I might have to do that. Yes, it's looking increasingly likely that that's what we're going to have to do. Buckle up, everyone. Oh, hold on. No, we got a road. There we go. So we are off on a live safari. We will also, because we're spoiled like this, going to be joined by our crew in South Africa a little bit later this afternoon. So the crew from Djuma will be joining us. So all in all, we're giving you the most amazing insight into African wilderness, two entirely different ecosystems, the open plains of the Masai Mara and the savanna woodland, I suppose, of Djuma. The lions are there, I promise. Brent is still on his way down. He's, as I told you, encountered some technical difficulties. Just one of those days. In terms of plans for this afternoon, might stop off at our Olololo Pride, find out how they're doing, see if they are full-bellied or empty, if they're going to be hunting this afternoon, and then I might try and get us to the Marsh Pride. And due to exceptionally bad planning on my part yesterday, we never got there. And that was also because we found those gorgeous tiny baby banded mongoose. And we never got there yesterday. Hello, you lot. I'm hoping today might be different, but I do not know. I'm just going to try and find us an overview shot here. Oh, look at the little boy. Okay, let me stop here. So there we go. That was the tree. They're under the tree that they were climbing yesterday. Is anyone in the tree? No. No one's in the tree today. How disappointing. You'll climb the tree for Ralph, but not for me. I see how it is. And to think I've watched these cubs grow up. In this pile of lions, there should, in theory, be 17 of them, and we'll do some shuffling around as we sit here, and we'll try and get an accurate head count. I don't know how many you saw yesterday, but I will try and get you an accurate head count. But some of these cubs we've watched since they were 3-4 weeks old, and there should be 17, and 13 of them are youngsters. But right now they are a flat puddle. Lion puddle. I do have such a soft spot for this pride. These females have to work so hard. They've got 9 males. I think it's 9. Look at this guy. There's one of them now. So they are at that almost teenage point in their lives. Look how big his paws are. And obviously, with that particular phase of life comes an enormous increase in appetite. So the ladies really have to work hard to keep them fed. And it's a huge advantage, of course, for them to have cubs around about the same time. It allows them to allosuckle. It's one of those things that lions have evolved to do in terms of their social structure. But what that means is when you get a situation like this where you've got 3-4 cubs per adult lioness, there are a lot of mouths to feed. And even an adult zebra doesn't go that far. As we learnt not so long ago, when all that was left of the zebra that used to live close to our kitchen was a rib cage and one leg. I think the hyenas helped with that as well. Here we go, there's one of the adult lionesses. Looks full to me. When I last saw them yesterday, they were also pretty full, and she still looks quite full. I think that this is a nice, comfortable spot. Now you'll notice that the ground has been very dug up, and that is because this is actually I suppose you could term it a quarry. It's a quarry area. It's known as a murram pit. It's a way of building the roads out here. Okay, I think let's do a head count, shall we? Oh, but I didn't even notice there's actually one hiding. There's 2 hiding. They're a little bit beyond the reach of the camera, so don't worry there, Adrian. I'll shift us around. Now, Scarlet, while we reposition, gives us a good opportunity to, ideally not roll down the hill. Scarlet wants to know what's the biggest pride of lions that I've ever seen. I'm just trying to think what the biggest pride, because I never saw the famous mountain pride that lived around Singita Lebombo, the Lebombo area of the Kruger. So I've never seen the super pride of 40 plus lions. I think probably the biggest pride I've ever seen would number somewhere in the region of around about 30 or so. I'm trying to think which pride would be the biggest. One forgets these things. These memories blur into one. Oh, spoiled, are we? Hello, you lot. Okay, let us work our way from right to left, I think. So, let's try and get an idea. Oh, this is where it gets tricky because there's little puddles of cubs everywhere. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that 5 and 6 there? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and in that grass over there is 17. So, if I'm correct in my count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, Okay, so Megan thinks I missed an ear, but that would mean that there are 18 lions, and that's not possible. Well, there's a male. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, now I don't know how many I've counted. I've gone horribly wrong. 15 is what I count when I'm not looking through the eyes of the camera. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 here, 16 there, possibly 17 in the grass. Okay, that's accurate. So there's 1 there. I think there might be 2 in the grass there, which would be absolutely right. 15 lying next to us, just, lying around. What a time to be a lion. Or am I lying about the numbers of lions? Some great puns in there. And possibly I've just been out in the middle of nowhere for too long. You can decide if you want. Or, actually, you could send through your best lion-related prides on best lion-related puns. I took great pride in that statement. On hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. I'm pretty sure you're going to beat me there. And send through your best lion-related puns. I'll give you pause for thought. Now First Lady has asked a very interesting question while you digest that particular problem that I've given you, or question that I've given you, challenge I've given you. You want to know, when lions roar, do they not damage their vocal cords? And the answer is no. And the reason behind that is that their vocal cords, that whole structure is very, very specific. It's a unique combination of different factors. So, you know, in human beings, when you touch your Adam's apple, or you touch your larynx around your throat, you can feel the solid protrusion of your hyoid bone. Now, in human beings, that is attached. It is very firmly attached to the rest of the trachea through connective tissue and so on. In lions, that hyoid bone is actually loose, which means that it can move away and the entire voice box can actually expand, and that allows for that resonance. At the same time, a muscle runs down from that voice box, larynx, all the way down to the lion's diaphragm. So what that means is when they take in a deep breath, it actually pulls that whole structure downwards. Then the folds of the membranes, the folds of the box, of the voice box or the larynx, actually are very specially structured. They are much more resilient than that of a human being. And obviously, I think perhaps you come from a singing background, maybe, or you know of singers who've ended up with nodes on their vocal cords. A human being can do significant damage by overstraining or overstressing their voice box if that's not done very carefully. But for lions, that's not something that occurs. You might find in an old lion there's a bit of wear and tear from all that roaring that they do throughout the evening and the morning. That's a good question, though. I think that's quite possibly the first time I've ever been asked about it. Capable, of course, of producing a sound that reaches 114 decibels in volume. When you sit next to it when they roar, when you sit next to them, your entire body will vibrate. The vehicle vibrates. It's an awe-inspiring thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I've definitely counted 15 under this tree. It's a very peaceful scene. Okay, I'm going to sit here and think up more incredibly awful, groan-inducing lion puns. Fortunately for us, though, Brent has made it back out. Let's go across to him. He's found something with feathers.
Here we go. It's a juvenile ground hornbill. You can see yellow on the face, not that very distinctive red we see on the adults. Oh, jogging through the long grass, running back towards the adults. And there they are. So a little family group here. Actively searching for rodents and insects and reptiles to eat. Well, they're disappearing into the long grass. Yes, fortunately, we managed to make a plan with our tech issues, so we are now out. And of course, my name is Brent Leo Smith. I have the one, the only, the Batman on camera. And we don't actually have a plan today. We are going to just see where the wilderness takes us. So I don't even know whether I'm going to turn left or right when I get to the bottom of the hill. I will make that decision when I get there. Remember, hashtag Safari Live if you have any questions, and that can be on whatever platform you are viewing. It would be great to hear from you. Quite warm at the moment. Probably close on 30 degrees Celsius, probably about 28, 29 degrees Celsius. Quite a lot of big storms building. Hopefully they'll stay away till the end of the safari and we don't get too wet. And as I say, there's been a lot of rain around at the moment. Last night it rained for about 3 hours or so. So the ground is quite sodden, lots of sticky, muddy areas to deal with. Oh dear, Batman, we have a choice to make, left or right. Batman? Left or right? Let's go left. No, then we definitely should go right. Okay, Batman, let's go left. Okay, so Batman chose, we're going left towards Olololo and then down probably towards the Maro River. Now when I arrived here, the Olololo Pride spent a lot of time up towards this area, and then later in the year they spent most of their time back down in this area, and this is where a lot of the cubs were born, was in this little area along here. But it seems now they've pushed even further to the southwest. So let's go back to the lovely Olololos and Jamie.
That is absolutely the case. They seem to be spending a lot of time here, although it is probably the most productive part of their territory up against the escarpment. And if they decide to go wandering up further up the hill, they'll actually find an entire group of zebras, some waterbuck. There's quite a few animals around. We've already spoken about the fact that they have a lot of mouths to feed, so there's plenty of food for them up there, but at the moment I don't think that they've got hunting on their mind. Mum's busy rolled on her back, belly to the air. Nice way of cooling herself down a little bit, as first of all, the white belly helps to reflect the rays of the sun. At the same time, more importantly, it exposes the warmest part of her to the wind that's blowing across. What are you doing, little one? Snapping at things. Okay. So, I opened up the invitation for bad puns or good puns. Monique said that lions are totally rawsome. And Monique, that was truly rawsome, well done. They are indeed rawsome animals. And while they're being rawsome animals, they don't damage their vocal cords. Midnight Blue says that we can always rely on myself and Jamie. Absolutely. I'm not sure what we're relying on me for. Quite possibly for bad puns, I suppose. I'm pretty reliable with those. A never-ending supply of bad puns. Lisa says she may be lying, but she's no cheater. There we go. That is the perfect combination of two different animals there. Of course, takes it back to why lions don't play poker, because there's too many cheaters in the wilderness. Oh dear, it's going to be one of those afternoons. I hope you're all ready for it. I'm basically going to try and think of as many bad puns as I can. Look at his little mane. I think most of you by now will know that I have quite a soft spot for young male lions of this age. I find something intrinsically vulnerable about them. And that's partly based in fact, of course, because they're going to have a very hard time of things. As they reach sexual maturity, they get pushed out of the pride and they have to head off on their own. Luckily for this pride, for the Olololos, if my count is correct, and I still have to confirm that, it was something done in a hurry in the rain, if my count of 9 males is correct, then they are at a certain advantage, because while I don't think they are going to they're going to move all together as a group of 9, they'll probably split into a group of sort of 4 or 5, which means at least their chances of survival are increased. Advantage, safety in numbers. It goes without saying that if they encounter a strange male, the strange male will try to kill them, and having the numbers to fight back is an advantage to them. I had an interesting conversation with one of the other guides who thinks that she is seeing more male lion cubs than she's ever seen before in proportion to the female cubs, which is an interesting chat. I have noticed that across the river as well with the lion prides I've seen. I've seen lots and lots of young males. It might be pure coincidence, but it would be interesting to know whether or not it is. Scarlett, no, I do not know how many lion prides reside in the Mara, and it is almost impossible to actually know. It's a massive, massive area, and to get an idea of exactly how many there are would require a great deal of research. I'll chat to the researchers and I'll find out if they've got a rough estimate. Remember, of course, there are no boundaries here, which means prides come in and out of Tanzania. There's no fences between Kenya and Tanzania. If I had to guess, if I had to throw a random number out there, I'd say around about 250 or so prides, but that really is a guess at best. You will of course notice other vehicles in this particular sighting. That is of course because the Mara area is an area frequented by tourists. They come and they view these animals as well. The money that they pay towards the park goes towards the protection and the upkeep of this area, and the animals included. Off onto the top of a termite mound. Oh, these Mara lions are strange cats. They love to go and lie in the sun. It's so strange. I mean, I know my dog does it as well. She goes and sunbathes when it's really hot, and I've never really... But they definitely go and lie in the sun more often than those in South Africa. It is cooler here, on average, but it's hot today. Dale, there is a point at which these young males are actually going to be exceptionally helpful to the lionesses in terms of hunting. But at the moment, yes, the lionesses are doing all of the hunting themselves. Do the cubs help? Some of these larger young males, like these guys over here, they will be very keen to join in. That hunting instinct has kicked in, so occasionally you might see them jumping onto the back of the prey that their parents have caught or their mums have caught, but by and large they are more a hindrance than they are a help. Cubs at this age really want to help, and they want to participate in the stalk, and of course they have absolutely no real skill that's developed yet or any idea about how it all works, so they tend to mess up the stalking. But give it a year and there will be a really solid hunting force here. It'll be the males, the oldest males will be around about over a year and a half, nearly 2 years old at that point, and then they'll be able to help and participate. What do you think? And of course, then the numbers will drop when those males go. Now, Chris, looking at our fearsome predators, looking not too fearsome, you want to know how often lions eat hyenas when they hunt. Very, very seldom. So a lion might kill a hyena. They do, I wouldn't say regularly, but they do kill hyenas, especially when the hyenas are scavenging or a potential threat to them. Male lions, young lions in particular, are the ones that are probably the biggest threat to the life of a hyena, but they don't hunt them. They're not something that they view as prey. So it's not something they will hunt for food. If they do catch and kill hyena, it is as a result of a natural predator instinct that is to remove as many other predators as possible, because it's competition. So if a lion kills a hyena, it's not to eat. They might eat a little bit of it. You'll by and large find that when a lion kills another predator, they don't eat very much of it unless they're very hungry. If they're hungry, it's an entirely different story. Leopards, on the other hand, if they catch and kill a cheetah, for example, they will eat it. They are recorded to eat the cheetahs that they've killed. So they're not as fussy, but that's probably more a waste not, want not scenario rather than them actively hunting cheetah for food. They hunt cheetah because it's competition. And it looks as though, from what I've heard from sad news from the other side of the river, for those of you who are regular followers of our various cheetah characters, you've met Armani's girls, the two young females that have been together on the other side of the river, two female cheetahs. Their mother's name is Armani. She's also the mother of Imani, who I think some of you will have encountered on our live drives as well. Armani had her first or her next set of cubs after her young girls recently, and it looks as though all of them have been killed, which is a very unfortunate thing. But the survival rate of cheetahs in the wild for cubs up until the age of 1 can sometimes be as low as 5%. A really sad fact. Just talking about predator conflict. Oh, beak yawns. Your shade appears to be slowly disappearing, you lot. Now here's my suggestion. I'm going to suggest that we leave these lions for now and we go wandering off in the direction of, well, somewhere else, and then we come back a little bit later, so spend some time with Ellie's. What do you think about that? That's my plan. While we get out of here and navigate our way around a lion puddle, let's head across to Brent, who has, I think, headed towards the Mara River.
I'm now heading down towards Chitwa Governor's area. Gonna go see if there's anything happening on the short grass plains that are close to the river. Quite often very productive in those areas. At this time of the day when it's quite hot, I'm hoping for some ellies out there, topi, zebra, jackal, hyena, all regulars in that short grass plain up ahead there. Emma would like to know why Craig is called Batman. We're not quite sure. James decided that Craig looked like Christian Bale. Although James is the only one who thinks Craig looks like Christian Bale. But so then started calling him Batman and it just kind of stuck. That's about it. Oh, what was that? Oh, no, nothing there. So what we're trying to do is get out of these long grass areas. We checked the long grass areas extensively this morning and we did not see much at all. So I'm hoping on the shorter grass closer to the river, we're going to have a little bit more luck when it comes to seeing animals. And as I said, there are massive storms all around us this evening. So hopefully they just stay away till we can wrap the safari. Which they have been doing. They have been quite well behaved over the last while. They only seem to start raining sort of after Mara is wrapped. But you don't want to zoot too fast. Of course, this is marsh breakaway territory. Nulia is wondering, have I seen wild dogs in Kenya yet? No, I have not, unfortunately. They've been spotted in the Mara twice, or 3 times since I've been here, but in the reserve that is, but very briefly in and out. They are more in the conservancies to the north and to the east. Now, when we were in Sava, the day we arrived in camp, our friends were out in the park and they saw a pack of about 10 or 12 dogs. So, but we unfortunately we didn't see them. We were on our way into camp still. Okay. I think I'm going to go a bit quicker. There's nothing happening in the long grasses again today. And we tried the sneak and slow in this morning, but we didn't have much luck. So let's get down to the short grass. Well, I'm on the move. It sounds like Jamie is on as well. Let's see what her plans are next.
Indeed on the move, and there's a good reason for that, apart from the fact that the Angamas were so sleepy, and that's that there's quite a few vehicles who would like to go and see them. I don't want to monopolize the sighting because there's a maximum number of vehicles allowed, so we've left and we've allowed some of the other vehicles to come and enjoy the good position that we were in. But we'll come back later, I promise. It's just below home, means we don't have to race back to camp. It's perfect. Now, as to where I'm going, that actually does depend upon where Brent is and where Brent is going, because I'm not going to make it all the way down as was my original plan. Now I know Megs has said that Brent's going to go to the river. Megs, you said he went through a gate, which means he went to Little Governor's side, I think. I feel as though he'd be, yeah, I feel as though he'd be quite thoroughly impressed if I bumped into him again. Plus, Plus, you've got this whole vast area. There's no point in both of us being in the same place at the same time. So my plans will depend on him. I want to go towards the Samaki swamp. Well, not into the Samaki swamp. It's far too soggy. Okay, thanks very much, Megs. Cool. Alright, so he is where I thought he was. That is great. He's going that way, so I'm going to go that way. And I agree with Brent, the trick is to try and get away from the long grass. This is the dry season, actually. Well, in theory, this is the dry season. It has rained every single night in the last week. And it absolutely poured last night for ages. It rained all the way through the night. So it does rain a great deal. The average annual rainfall is above 1,000 mils, quite a lot above 1,000 mils. So there is a significant amount of rain where you compare it to the Sabi sand, which you're looking at around about 500 mils during your average year. So it's triple that you'll see in South Africa. And although this is the dry season, it seems to be raining every single day. Once we get to the wet season, well, I guess it'll rain every single day, but for a bit longer, would be my assumption as to how this is all going to work. That, in theory, starts around about April, May. We'll let you know. We'll let you know as we skid our way around. That's wonderful, though. It's the reason that the ecosystem is the way it is. This is where I slid the other day and almost got into trouble. Let's go find some elephants. It's hot. I'm hoping they're going to be having a mud bath. So we are going to have to cover some ground quite quickly. But that's okay, we can chatter away as we do, and if I see anything in the long grass, I will shout. Amazing how it still manages to be soaking, sodden and dusty at the same time. We put foot to get us to an area where there's lots of interesting birds and all sorts of other things. Let's go across to Brent, who I imagine was doing something quite similar.
Well, we've arrived on the short grass plains and immediately we are greeted with a heartbeat. Some Thompson's gazelles. Hello, Tom-Toms. They are such exquisite little antelope. Now, this looks to be mostly boys. There are a few females actually, but mostly boys here. A few ladies. As you can see by the horns, is a male, far more prominent. Whereas the females have no use for horns, and they are slowly evolving not to have any. So their horns are often squiff and wonky and broken, and they got one horn. I've even seen some without horns. And there we go, there's two females there. You can see almost non-existent horns in comparison to the males. Well, that actually could be no, that's a little boy. No, those are young boys. Those are not females. I do apologize. It looks like this is a little bachelor group. I think there's some females a little bit further down the drag. So let's see if we can get a bit closer to them. But see, immediately we're onto the short grasses, we start seeing mammals. And well, the good thing about seeing animals here means that there's stuff for the cats to eat. Now let's see if we can find a female Tommy. David would like to know, are the Thompson's gazelle horns bigger than impalas? Not at all, David. There we go. There's a lilac-breasted rollers flapping about, but there we go. You can see there's a male Thompson's gazelle and an impala, and you can see how much bigger the impala's horns are. There's also some topi, and you can also see the village of Mara Rianta in the background. And you're about to see a Cessna Grand Caravan that has just landed on the Chitwa airstrip. Now, often nicknamed the pregnant guppy, that aeroplane, due to the baggage compartment being on the bottom, and one of the most used aeroplanes in the bush anywhere, actually. South America, Africa. They are incredibly safe, fixed undercarriage, so you don't have to worry about the wheels going in and out. They're fixed there. Very reliable motor, and capable of landing and taking off in very short distances. Can also carry quite a load. I'm still looking for a female Tommy. It's all bachelors around here. Little bachelor groups all over the place. Emma is wondering, are there certain animals that prefer the short grass to the long grass? Most animals, Emma, prefer short grass. Big misconception that long grass is nice. If you're an animal, short grass is nice. It's sweet, and if it's kept short, it keeps producing high nutrients. Most animals all prefer short grass. Elephants, they don't mind the long grass, but most animals prefer short grass. Now think about it, we drive out in the long grass, you maybe see 1 or 2 topi. You drive here, we've probably seen 50, 60 topi, 50, 60 tommies, and that's just close to us here. There's zebra way in the distance over there. Looks like a herd of buffalo way in the distance, which we're going to go around that way anyway. But yes, most animals prefer short grass. Now, another creature we see on this particular patch of short grass plains is spotted hyenas. There's a clan around here, and they're often lounging about in the puddles next to the road. So hopefully there's a hyena or two just down the drag. Kimura is wondering, why don't we see striped or brown hyenas there? Well, Kimura, because brown hyenas live about 2,500 kilometers from here. They are endemic to southern Africa. They occur in southern Mozambique, South Africa, southern Zimbabwe, Botswana, Namibia, and southern Angola. So very, very far away from here. The reason you don't see striped hyenas in the areas of the Mara we operate is because of the high number of spotted hyenas. Striped hyenas will be in the slightly drier parts of the Mara, up in the hills where there aren't as many spotted hyenas and lions, therefore less competition. Well, I'm not sure where Jamie's racing, so let's go find out.
I'm not really, well, I am racing to somewhere, but largely purely as a result of that discussion that you've just had with Brent, which is when these long grass areas, there's not that much, and what there is in these particular patches I can't see, not without being able to see through all of the grass. But just ahead of me is that swampy area known as Maji Ndege, which is where we've had the most amazing bird sightings, crowned cranes, hammerkorps. We see warthogs wallowing there all the time, waterbuck. The Magoro Pride spends a lot of time there. And it, generally speaking, at this time of year, is a great place to go and spend some time. So that's why I'm racing, because I know unless there is a serval right here next to me, I'm not going to see it. It would take some kind of magic to be able to. And even the bird life is quite scarce at this particular time of year in these areas. That is not to say that there's no animals in this part of the triangle. There's plenty to see. You just have to know where to go. So we had the lions right next to our camp, and now we've got this amazing area that runs along the Mara River. And who knows, we could also bump into the musketeers, into a lion called Scarface and the rest of his cohorts who've been, I think, largely absent from our safaris for a while. Oh, and there's Ellie's. Yay! It's so hard to believe, even having been here to watch the changes of the habitat, it really is quite hard to believe that this is the same place that was teeming with wildebeest. And not only that, there was no grass. There was nothing. There was just tracks in the dirt from where the wildebeest had wandered through. Tracks scoured into the dirt by the passage of thousands of feet. Now, Dale, you want to know if the start that all again. If the short grass plains are naturally short. To a point, yes. It's all natural. It's all part of the natural way of things. But of course, certain areas are grazed more heavily than others, and as a result. Why did you just make that noise, car? Let's have a look at the Ellies. I just want to listen to the sound as we move forward. Now, what are we talking about? Oh yes, natural short grass plains. Yes, some of them absolutely are in different types of soil, different species of grass. Some are more highly utilized by animals than others. Some recover more swiftly, some don't have the opportunity to recover. For example, this area has recovered beautifully. It's had lots and lots of rain. And there's very few big Ellies wandering about feeding. Isn't she enormous? You saw an elephant like that out of the corner of your eye in South Africa, you'd say it was a male. And what's really nice here is if you look at the tip of her right tusk, you can actually see that that is the one that she uses predominantly to tear the grass. So that is her more dominant tusk. But she uses both, and all elephants will use both of their tusks, but she uses the one on the right more frequently. And you can actually see, if we look at the tip, you can actually see where it has, through years and years and constant feeding, she's wrapped her trunk around grass and then used that part of her tusk to pull the grass up. And as a result, she's actually got a notch. And as she continues doing that, she will probably break that tip off. Ooh. Alright, keep watching the Ellies. Come here, buddy. There we go. Oh, here comes a storm. Yay. Here we go. Here's something we don't often do in the Mara. A segment on an insect. In this case, the dung beetle that was wandering about in, for some reason, a Father Christmas hat. Can anyone tell me why there's a Father Christmas hat or a Christmas hat in Paka? But anyway, there is. And there we go. There's our dung beetle. Obviously arrived to try and remove some of the zebra dung from camp, I imagine, or possibly it was flying about and flew into the vehicle as we were driving. They are not the best landers, dung beetles. They are quite good at navigating, and they're very strong, and they can roll balls of dung, but they haven't really evolved a system of landing that is more sophisticated than essentially just shutting their wings and falling out of the sky. Which is why it's so entertaining to sit next to a big dung pile. Oops, sorry, get my hat out of the way. Why it's so entertaining to sit next to a big dung pile, because you watch these massive dung beetles zooming in and then crash landing into a pile of dung. And if they're lucky, they land in the dung, because then it's a nice soft landing. Looking a little battered there, buddy. There ain't no dung in here, I hope. I don't think there's any dung in here. I want to show you one more thing, and it just involves grabbing him for a second. Something really cool to show you. for our newer viewers about where the eyes of these insects are. So you always think of them as being on the top of the head. If you can zoom right in, is that as far in as you can go, Adrian? There we go. Can you actually see his eyes on the bottom of his head? Just there where his head joins his body is where his eyes are. Big round eyes. I'm sorry, little one. Okay, alright, come. Alright, let me let him go. Shame. He's getting a bit frightened. He was okay earlier, but now he's a bit frightened. It's alright. Don't you worry. I'm not planning on eating you. You can rest assured. Oops. Now, Dale, speaking of, I'm busy putting it right next to my mouth and saying, don't worry, you'll be okay. Dale wants to know if anything actually eats the dung beetles. I'm just going to put him on our dashboard for now. I don't really want to throw him out into the water. Dale, there are certain things that will eat them, especially the littler ones. The smaller dung beetles, birds will eat them. The biggest, I would say, if I had to guess what the biggest predator for dung beetles is, I would say ants. Siafu, or the safari ants that live in our camp. I see them... feeding off dung beetles outside our bathrooms all the time, and if that dung beetle makes the mistake of landing on its back, and we've already spoken at their sort of level of expertise when it comes to landing, if it lands on its back, it takes a long time to get up, and the ants actually settle in and attack it, and they eat it alive. It's quite traumatizing to watch. Here we go, it's okay. I'm trying to make a break for freedom. I'm going to let him go, but I don't really want to let him go straight into a swamp. That feels a little bit unfair. So he can ride with us for now, and I'll let him go a bit later. Hey? Not looking at his best, is he? I think he's a little... and possibly even at the end of his lifespan, or her lifespan. I can't really tell. I didn't think it polite to ask. Okay. Right, let me take him off our dashboard, because otherwise the poor thing is going to go flying. And let's carry on. But quickly... Oh, it's impala. I was about to ask Adrian what those animals were. All the way over there. Very far away. There we go. There. It is impala. It is impala. Now, while it is difficult to find a dry spot anywhere in the northern part of the triangle at the moment, we found ourselves quite a swampy spot, but not nearly as swampy as Brent's.
Well, not so much swampy spot. Sorry, I just threw Craig under the bus. I suddenly saw these giraffe take off, and they're all staring back. So I think there might be a big cat around back where they're looking. They all, a whole herd of giraffe running together, and then just suddenly stopped and turned around and started staring. So let's go have a look. I think there could be lions there, judging from that behavior. Hold on, we're going to go a bit quicker to get there. So when you're on the short grass here, there's stuff for the lions to eat, so they're going to be around here. Okay, hold on. I'm going to just pop through the forest quickly. All the giraffes staring down that direction. So I'm just going to go around the forest. Unless we obviously hit an elephant roadbuck in the forest, which does happen quite often. Now, this giraffe are looking on the other side of these trees. The Jersey lady says, oh, be careful, giraffe. Indeed, especially if they've got any youngsters. Well, there's more giraffe here and they're not looking. Very strange. Very strange indeed. Now there is a bit of distance between these two sets of giraffe, but just the way they all ran together makes me think lion. Somewhere around here would be my guess. Just trying to have a quick look, a quick scan. Topi's also looking. I'm going to have to get a bit closer to the end of that tree island there. They could be in these bushes here. Dale's wondering, do giraffe make sounds to warn each other if they see danger? No, they don't, Dale. Giraffe are very, very silent creatures, but they will pick up on each other's body language normally. There's something there. Where have all those giraffe? They skedaddled even further. Okay, somewhere here there's something going on. The topi are also looking down that direction. I think it could be in the thickets there. Okay, I'm going to go around and try and get a bit closer to what's going on down there. While we do that, let's go see where and what Jamie's up to.
I'm driving along River Road, but never mind that. Wouldn't it be exciting if Brent actually found the leopard? So the way I saw one of my first ever leopards in the Mara was following the stairs of giraffe. Well, first time I ever saw 3 leopards in one go in the Mara. So we're driving along. Unfortunately, the swampy areas, I wouldn't say they've disappointed, but they haven't quite been as many animals as I've been accustomed to seeing. So we've got one lone male Thompson's gazelle. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Tommy. That was terribly bad timing on my part. But there we go. There's our male Thompson's, all by his lonesome. I don't see any other females around. One thing I have been doing. Oh dear, I told you it was terrible timing. I had a feeling that was going to be the case. Oh well. Everybody poops, even Tommy gazelles. I've embarrassed him. What I was going to say is that a fair number of the female Thompson's gazelles are heavily, heavily pregnant at the moment. I've seen a few very fat individuals, not fat, pregnant individuals. What are you doing? We've got a strange one over here, folks. Is that an itchy ear? Is that why you're all on your own? Diane, why does it have a black tail? Oh, the arguments abound when it comes to the coloration of various antelope and actually various game animals in general. In other words, giraffe, zebra, anything like that. There's always plenty of debate about why animals have the coloring that they do. So we'll notice that there should be a little bit of white under the tail. No, he doesn't. This one doesn't have white at all. I don't 100% know. Obviously, you do get a degree of differences within the various individuals within a species. So sometimes, for example, we had a wild dog with a black tail in South Africa. So sometimes that just happens. But a lot of the time, black is a very, very distinctive color along with white in the bush. It shows up very clearly. And there's a couple of different reasons or ways that animals can use that. One is as a visual communication tool. And in the case of antelope, tails are very important, or all animals, tails are very important when it comes to, all mammals, when it comes to communicating with each other visually. Then at the same time, it might also be used as an example of flash coloration. Basically, it's something like a little steenbok does, which is to expose itself and then run and duck. So it lifts up its tail and the white shows on its rump, and then it drops its tail and disappears, and the predator can't work out where it's gone to. So flash coloration, it basically acts as a surprise. There's also an argument for black around that particular area because it would heat up. This is not my theory, this is something I've read in various articles. So warm gets warm. I cannot use words in the right order today. It really is quite absurd. Black, as a general rule, gets warmer than the color white. This we know. So the idea would be that the bottom would stay white and the tail would be warmer to attract ectoparasites to the warmer area, because that's how they make their way around. They are able to detect body heat. So they'd be more inclined to go to the tail rather than attaching themselves to the more tender parts of the Thompson's gazelle. And then, of course, it would be able to reach back and groom away the parasites. That is another theory that's been put forward with respect to impala, but I suppose could be equally applied to Thompson's gazelle. Good question, though. There's a whole, I could probably do, if not a 3-hour safari, I could probably do about an hour safari on the discussion of the various types of coloration, the way in which it's used. The stripe, for example, on the Thompson's gazelle, I have absolutely no idea why it's got that stripe. It looks like a springbok. Why does it have it? I really am not 100% sure. But you could talk about zebra, the idea that the stripes actually prevent insects from landing on them, like tsetse flies. Giraffe and their microcurrents of heat. It goes on for a long, long time. But speaking of giraffe, of course, I'm sure most of you are actually really dying to know what those giraffe were staring at. Let's go and see whether Detective Brent has any answers.
Unfortunately, we have no answers due to what lies in front of us. And I've been trying to stare into the bushes with my binoculars, but alas, I think I'm going to have to go the long way around, back from where we came to try get into that area, because that is not crossable at the moment. And you'll see the giraffe there in the background. They're now moving away from where they were looking. A whole long troop of them walking off in the distance there. Very pretty. But there are some ellies around as well. Just 2 elephant bulls out on their own, enjoying the mud, or muddy areas at least. There they are. The wind is starting to pick up, which is never a great sign out here, and we literally have thunder and lightning covering about 180 degrees around us at the moment. But I'm going to go try see if I can get closer to whatever spooked those giraffe. Hello, Monique in London. Monique would like to know what is my favorite mammal sound. Oof, that's a difficult one. I've got lots. I will mammal. Well, hyena, whooping, lions roaring, elephants. Actually, elephants rumbling. It's one of my favorites, definitely. Hippo's always good, but I'd have to say elephants and hyena are my 2 top. Okay, so I'm going to have to go all the way back around through the forest to try and see what those giraffe were staring at. Oh, bouncy, bouncy. We'll just keep checking what's about. We're in the right sort of zone. I'm really hoping. Oh, what's happening there? Why are those buffalo running? What is going on here? Just hang on. Are there lions around these buffalo? The buffalo suddenly spooked as well. Let's look carefully. While we're moving, Lily was wondering, was that a family group of giraffe? It looked to be, yes, there were males and females, but it looked to be more young, a group of young males. There were no babies there. What has spooked the buffalo? Whatever it is, it's over here somewhere. Let's hang on here. There we go, we've got lions. There we go, that's what spooked the buffalo. I wonder if they were attempting to hunt them. Well spotted, Craig. There we go. You can see all the ellies in the background. But those buffalo are clearing out, and that lioness is still quite a long way away. Maybe it was an unsuccessful stalk. Could just see by the buffalo's reaction that something wasn't quite right. Okay, let's move a little closer. So we saw the giraffe initially staring on out. We'll see how many lions we can see here, because if it is the marsh breakaway, there should be 3 adult females. And if there's only 1 or 2 here, then the other one is more than likely what those giraffe was staring at in the bushes back there. I can see 2 lionesses now. I wonder where the third is. Well, they're not looking like they're too interested in the buffles. Interested, but not interested enough to stand up. And of course the buffalo are quite aware of their presence, so already on the move. Now, as I said, maybe the third lioness is back behind us, and that's what spooked the giraffe. Anapan is wondering, do lions have a favorite prey? Anapan, yes and no. Like with most animals, things like that, prey species preference is area specific rather than... Hang on. Sorry. Is there another lioness that those buffalo are trying to chase? It just looked like that lead buffalo dropped its head and ran into the grass there. Or maybe some males around that we can't see at this very moment. Because the buffalo seem far more focused on something that's in front of them there than they are on the lionesses we were looking at. Let me set my binos up here quickly. I can't see anything in the grass up there, but Anapan, as I was saying, the species choice just depends on the area. So, like the lions in the Sabi sands, they love buffalo. These lions, not so much. They'd prefer something a bit smaller. So it all depends on the area. So I think we're going to wait here to see what happens with these lions. They might not hunt the buffalo, but as I say, we're on the short grasses. There's a lot of different prey species around, so you never know if we might get lucky. However, I think we might get wet before we get lucky, unfortunately. Well, we play patience with the Marsh Breakaway Pride. Let's go see where Jamie is.
I am nearly at Magoro Crossing. Goodness, I'm giving you lots of updates as to my whereabouts today. Could positively track my progress on a map, and my speed actually, if you wanted to. The last time I went through Magoro Crossing, there were some mysterious fishes. No, they were not mysterious fishes. They were mysterious splashes that then resolved. Well, we resolved the mystery and realized they were fish. Now, we've just got to go past hippo pools, but I have to say, my great thinking about how we were going to see lots of birds and animals all around these swampy areas hasn't really materialized today. And I'm hoping there's a reason so many cars have gone racing past me. I suspect that reason is all the way over the hill though. But I have seen a fair amount of traffic go racing past. I'm not going to fall into the trap of racing after them though. I've made that mistake before. I did try and stop for some banded mongoose, but unfortunately they were not nearly as obliging as the group that we saw yesterday. They disappeared very quickly. Well, in light of the fact that I can't find anything else, there's an impala. We will go back to the Angama or Lolo Pride around about in an hour or so, I think. The wind is howling this afternoon, and it is really quite chilly. Which, of course, in response to those sorts of weather conditions, most animals get a little bit nervous, a little bit more on edge. Now, this chap, that will be even more pronounced because he's all on his own. Why is he all on his own? Well, it's not uncommon to see male impala that have wandered off away from the rest of the herd. He probably isn't quite in strong enough condition to fight off other big males for access to the females. Dawn, okay, so Dawn's question is, would an impala be around about the size of a deer? I suppose it does depend on the species of deer. They certainly are nowhere close to the size of, say, an elk or a moose, or obviously not. And they are smaller than red deer. Quite significantly smaller than red deer. Okay, now help me with species of deer. What deer would they? They're bigger than muntjacs. Quite a bit bigger than a muntjac. Fallow deer? How big is a fallow deer? Hold on a sec, let me think about this. A fallow deer? I think a fallow deer would be around about the size of an impala. And so impala weighs about, big adult male like that probably weighs around about 60, maybe even 70 kilograms. Which I would equate roughly with a fallow deer from the brief sights that I've had of fallow deer. I've not really seen them properly, but that's what I would say. They're definitely smaller than red deer. But they are, all of the antelope that we see here are basically, essentially the equivalent of a deer. They fulfill a very similar process. They're herbivores. You get them, they come in different shapes and sizes. Slightly greater variety, I think, than deer, depending upon where you are. We've got 73 species of deer, antelope in Africa, and I think there's 90 in total in the world. I got very excited. I thought I heard a jackal barking, but it is in fact just a person enjoying their safari. Those of you who do know fallow deer quite well, would you say that I'm around about the right area in terms of size? Those of you who know impala and know fallow deer, that's how big I would say. Mambo. Well, everyone's racing in the opposite direction. Okay, well, we give you the time to figure that one out and see if I'm correct on the fallow deer comparison. Let's go across back to Brent, who's managed to catch up with the marsh breakaways. Let's see what his lions are up to.
Well, they are being very lazy at this very moment. So only 2 of them. So I think whatever spooked the giraffe was possibly the 3rd lioness. But relaxing, they look like they're not starving, but not completely obese, like we have seen lions in the past. Oh dear, the rain is getting closer and closer. Hopefully it blows behind us and away across the river. Now, you will hear quite a few vehicles. This is quite a busy road. Well, this afternoon anyway. There they are. One lioness is still watching where the buffalo are. That was a busy car, busying past us. But they're not really interested in those buffalo at all. I've had a good look at the buffalo herd. There's not many youngsters in there, and 2 lionesses in this part of the world, they wouldn't really have a go too much, and there'd need to be a little buffalo, but there aren't very many. I actually couldn't see one tiny buffalo, only some sub-adults. See, there we go, there's a sub-adult there. That's about the smallest I've managed to spot in the herd. It's not to say there might not be a tiny baby somewhere hidden behind the rest of the herd. But I don't think so. I think that could be a very important reason why this pride has decided not to go after them. Now, Dale's wondering, because house cats can recognize scents, do you think lions would start recognizing the scents of certain guides? I don't think so, Dale, to be honest. There's no real need for them to recognize that scent. I do believe they recognize scents, but I don't think they recognize the scents of different individual safari guides who spend time with them at all, or vehicles for that matter. I think if they do hunt, I think they're going to wait for this storm to set in. Now, during the beginnings of a storm and after a storm, the hunting can be quite a lot easier for the big cats. So the storm, you can probably hear just behind us the thunder. We might start seeing some lightning in not too long. Another wet evening in the Masai Mara. Jabba is asking, does the color of a lion's nose indicate anything? Due to the fact that some are black, some are speckled, pink, etc. Well, people used to use nose color as a way to age lions. However, this is a very ineffective and not very good way to age lions at all. So generally it's said if they've got pink noses, they're under an X amount. But I mean, I've seen male lions that I know are 8-9 years old, so they're supposed to have black noses sporting pink speckly ones. So no, it's probably similar to hair color. I don't think there's any particular reason for them to have any different colors, or that different colors of their noses to mean anything in particular. Oof. It is quite a wonderful sound, the sound of thunder, but it is quite ominous if you're sitting out here in the open watching lions, waiting for them to hunt, and you know there's a storm on its way. Now, often when it comes to these situations, patience is most important. Mrs. Lapwing would like to know, would a lion eat a bird that was wandering by? Yes, I mean, they're opportunists. They might have a go, especially if it's something like a Cory bustard or ostriches. They will definitely eat. The cubs will chase birds, but they're a little bit too slow generally to actually catch any birds. But if the opportunity arose, they would. You must remember, like all predators, they are opportunists. They're looking towards that storm that's behind us, to the side of us, and thinking, hunting's going to be a little bit easier when that arrives. Now, of course, when there's strong winds and a little bit of rain, it does aid the big cats in their hunting, because the senses of the prey species are slightly affected. Their hearing, smell. Now, let me just show you what is coming our way. Getting closer and closer. Oh, I think I felt my first raindrop, Craig. Oh, it's already at Governor's by the looks of things. Here we go. That is coming straight for us at the moment. I don't think these lines are going to get up to too much, so I think we might try and move a bit to avoid that storm. I just wanted to make sure. Hang on, what's that there? No, I thought it might be the other lioness on her way in this direction, but it's not. Okay, what do you think, Craig? Make a run for it. Yeah. Well, I heard Jamie's racing to something exciting. I'm already getting raindrops, so I might go to the Olololo Pride and see if they get up to anything, and hopefully that storm misses us in that area. Ooh, it suddenly got very chilly. Okay, I'm racing away from the rain, but Jamie's racing towards something exciting.
I am indeed. It changes my plans completely. Brent can go and enjoy the Olololos up in the tree. Well, hopefully up in the tree. I have just got some exciting news about the Paradise Pride. Apparently they've caught themselves some lunch, and we're racing to go and see what it is. They are on the other side of the river, but that's okay. Our camera is able to zoom in plenty, so we'll be able to see everything unfolding. Now, I want to get there as quickly as possible, because chances are that pride is split up. Goodness gracious, do you think I can talk? We're busy laying bets about what the Angama, the Paradise Pride caught. I said zebra, and then Adrian was the one who asked the question, and then he said pigeon. So if it's a pigeon kill, we might be a little bit late. Sante. it'll probably be gone. Also, Adrian, if it is a pigeon kill, I will eat this hat. With mustard and tomato sauce and ketchup, but I will eat this hat. And then I won't have a hat that you can fit a microphone in, and then you're going to be in really big trouble. And so am I. Jean-Andre will be weeping on the floor. I'll have to wear a lapel mic, there'll be too much wind, it'll just be a disaster if it's a pigeon. So please feel free to send through what you think they've caught. I'm going zebra. Force of habit. Eloise says, was it Eloise, Meg, that info came from? Eloise said, I'm slightly off with the fallow deer. She thinks the fallow is, did she say a fallow was too big or the impala was too big? She thought maybe the impala was too big, maybe. Oh, the fallow was too big. Oh, I didn't realize fallow were that big. But she said that perhapsily, I can't speak. It's absurd. She said perhaps white-tailed deer would be the best example of a deer that is around about the size of an impala. I will try and regain my faculties because really this is absurd. No wonder all the cars were racing. There's lions on a kill. Oh dear. Lions quite far away, but that's alright. Oh, so many big smiles. People are happy. I wonder if one or two of them didn't see the actual chase. Sometimes I find myself quite a... Didn't even... Alright. What was I talking about? Oh, Meg said that. I'm so sorry about that. Apparently we did go black screen. I was just chatting about the guy who completely ignored my wave and in fact looked at me like I'd called out of a piece of cheese, but that's alright. There's something on my teeth, Adrian. Is it because I don't know. Maybe he was just so impressed with our filming setup. Hi everyone. Goodness gracious, this is going to be tricky, Adrian. Oh dear. Okay, this is probably the best I can do in terms of positioning. They are, well, a little bit far away. Me and my talking too much about the camera zoom. Can you... where are the cars? A little bit to the right. There we go, there we go. Keep going, keep going. Right, and zoom. And just keep zooming, and keep zooming, and keep zooming, and keep zooming, and a bit to the right. I think is where the kill is. There the young... No, the kill is right there. Oh dear, now we're in a complicated situation here for poor Adrian. In theory, we do not put people on camera, which of course applies mainly to the tourists, and we do that for a very good reason. If we did, they would have yards of paperwork to fill out. So we don't put people on camera. Obviously, it does happen accidentally every now and again. So for Adrian, this is a little bit tricky. Oh, these boys have grown so much. I think maybe what we can do, Adrian, is just have a look at the lions on the right as well. On the right of that termite mound. There, that's, I think, where they're feeding. Right. Well, for all that gives us, it could be a pigeon. I don't see any feathers. I don't think it's a pigeon, and I don't want to have to eat my hat. Adrian says it's a pigeon. Okay, quickly, off you go back across to Brent to find out how his journey towards the Olololos is going.
Well, I'm still running away from the rain and heading towards the Olololo Pride. So far, I've only managed to get about 3 or 4 drops of rain on me. Okay, but there are storms all around us at the moment. So for those of you who have just joined on Facebook and other platforms, welcome. We've been out for the last hour already. Hour and a half already. We've seen lions and elephants. My name is Brent Leo Smith, and remember, if you want to send us any questions, just pop them on the feed that you're watching on with the hashtag Safari Live. Now, speaking of lions, I'm heading towards the Olololo Pride. I've just left the Marsh Breakaway Pride, being quite lazy, not doing anything. And Jamie is with the Paradise Pride. So Saturday Catterday is in full swing with lions, and more lions. Now, I'm going to keep rushing towards where the Olololo Pride were last and avoiding a really big storm that's rolling in behind us. But speaking of lions, and lions, let's go to the Paradise Pride with Jamie.
Lions everywhere. I thought I had a pun, but I don't. So I'm just going to stick with lions everywhere. Unfortunately, our lions are a fair distance away from us. But I think it's safe to say they're the main event of this afternoon. Yes, no? Nah. Adrian's giving me a nod, but I think he feels obliged to do that. I'm not sure that one really worked. I'll keep trying, though. I'll keep trying. No, my brain can't even process a normal sentence, let alone trying to think up puns. I can't understand it. I went to bed at 8:30 last night. I should be full of beans and able to process information slightly faster than I am at the moment. Well, we don't know what they're eating, do we? And the bet will have to be suspended, because I don't know that there's any way to prove anything. I'm going to say it's not a zebra, or if it is, it's a small one. Otherwise, I think they'd be more invested in feeding. They don't seem to be. Oh, there's one up to the right there, Adrian. If you keep going right, there's one that's up. One of the lionesses. Oh, that storm. I know I'm going to have to drive through it on my way home. I know it. I just don't want to accept it. By the way, I know that our South African crew is a little bit late joining us this afternoon. It's just because there are some problems with, well, fighting off gremlins. Here we go. One of the Paradise lionesses being very, very obliging. Kamora. Now, you are wondering about lion dynamics when two prides meet. Do you see any feathers dripping from her mouth? I don't. Don't think it's a pigeon. Kamora, lionesses can fight, and they can actually fight quite seriously and occasionally even potentially fatally with each other. So when two lion prides meet, there is a huge amount of growling and a lot of hissing, and then generally speaking, the one pride will turn and run away. I have got an audience, folks, in the vehicle next to me. They're providing sound effects. It's very entertaining. What was I talking about? I've forgotten what I was talking about. Oh, two prides meeting. That was it. So when two prides meet, it happens every now and again. Prides are actually quite good at avoiding each other. They won't actively seek each other out. It's just when they bump into each other accidentally. It's not nearly as aggressive as a group of males meeting up with each other. So a group of males, they will fight potentially to the death. Two dominant male coalitions. Again, roaring helps to essentially for the lions to know where each other lion is so that they can avoid each other. That is a good way of avoiding those physical conflicts, but sometimes they are unavoidable. Oh, that was scary. Yay, lightning! My favorite thing. I think she's coming for a drink. She's been so obliging. Might even get to see her hiss at the water, which they often do in this river because of the crocodiles. I think the Paradise Pride are relatively well practiced when it comes to crocodiles. They know what it's all about. She doesn't look very... Does she look full? She doesn't look like she's eaten very much, but she does look full. Well, there was a rumble of thunder that shook the vehicle slightly. Liquid, how many times a day do lions sleep? Lions sleep like cats sleep, so they catnap regularly. It would be impossible for me to tell you how many times they wake up and then go back to sleep again. Obviously, they stay on alert, so they sleep, they're light sleepers. They will often wake up, lift their heads and look around and go back to sleep. How long do they sleep? They can sleep for up to 20 to 22 hours a day, sometimes more, sometimes less. In the times that we've followed these lionesses around at night, they're usually moving almost the entire evening, with the occasional nap in between. So sometimes they are active for almost 12 hours in one stretch. It depends on how hungry they are, it depends on how successful they've been. There are a lot of different factors, but lions are known for their ability to sleep. Hello, girl. Checking for crocs, are we? Sneaking her way down. Is she going to come all the way down to the river for a drink? Or is she going to just randomly sit there? A very warm welcome again to Liquid. Will a pride ever steal another pride's kill? Yes, absolutely, if they have the advantage of numbers. Funnily enough, it happened to two prides recently, two prides that we know very well. One was the Angama or Lololo pride. The other was what we've been terming the small sausage tree pride, who are now being called by guides the Owino pride. O-W-I-N-O, Owino pride. And the Owino pride consists of only 2 lionesses and 3 cubs, whereas, as you've seen with the Olololo pride, they actually have 4 lionesses and 13 cubs, and the cubs are older. So they ended up stealing a warthog kill, I believe. I think it was a warthog. That was something I was told about recently by one of the other guides here. So yes, a pride could steal another pride's kill. Lions are really good at scavenging. They really like scavenging. A lion's favorite food is a free meal. I know you were talking about the lion's favorite prey. Their favorite prey is an easy meal. Oh, no, we don't. Are there crocodiles there? No. Are we going to move a bit further along? Maybe come and look over the edge first? She really wants to drink, obviously. Or is this the whole pride? Or does she need... Now, the Paradise Pride moved backwards and forwards across the Mara River. At the moment, I think it's safe to say it would be highly inadvisable for them to go across the river at the moment. Come on, girl. The river is very, very full and very fast flowing. That guinea fowl got really lucky. Did not notice an entire lioness next to it. There's 2 guinea fowl. Now, Tanis, talking about lions' favorite prey, they would be an example of difficult prey for them to catch, obviously, because the guinea fowl will fly away. And Tanis is wondering what would be the easiest and what would be the most difficult prey for a lion to catch. Oh, it's so difficult. The most difficult, I would say, would be an adult hippopotamus, shortly followed by an adult buffalo. Oh, there we go, we've noticed. Now we're alarm calling. But I think the wind's blowing too much to hear. Well, duh. You just walked right past her. Birds are alarm calling for our new viewers at the Lioness. So it's hard to work out exactly what would be the easiest. For an injured buffalo could be termed quite easy. An injured small antelope would be even easier. A young animal, usually because they're a bit inexperienced, they're not as fast as the adult. And like all predators, they will, if they can, target the older, the younger generation, the older and the younger generations, and the weak and the injured. Makes sense. Hunting for lions is a very dangerous process. They can injure themselves really, really badly, and sometimes they can actually end up being killed by those injuries. And it's a difficult thing for a wild animal to be injured because they can't pop off to the pharmacy and or the doctor or the emergency room. They've got to survive with that injury. Less so for lions than it would be for a social cat like a female cheetah or a leopard. Oh, guinea fowl. Now there's an Egyptian geese doing the lion. Did you say lion? Okay, I'm just gonna sidle over here. Are you sure you saw a lion? All right, I'm just gonna keep walking sideways. Stop and look. Are you sure? Lion? Where is the lion? Are there more lions? And all the guinea fowls are lion, lion. And the goose is going, but where? But where? Is there more than one? Should I sidestep more? Which way is safe? The grass is long on my right, it's long on my left. Paranoia setting in. Oh, there, much better idea. Off I go. There was a word for what I imagined the goose just said in my own mind, but I'm not going to share it with you. But I think it decided that this was not worth it. Oh, the lioness is out. That's why the goose flew away. I'm so sorry, Megs. The wind is now howling. I can barely hear you. And the storm is about to hit. Liquid, yes, lions do swim. They can swim. As I said, these lionesses often cross this river. And sometimes this will mean... Excuse me. Sometimes it'll mean that they sneeze a lot. No. Sometimes it'll mean that they have to swim. So yes, they can swim, they do swim, they don't like swimming because of course it carries the risk of being eaten by a crocodile. Now a crocodile will hunt a lion like it hunts a zebra or an antelope or anything along those lines. If she's just not along those lines, haha, did it again. Yet another lion pun. I hope you're keeping a checklist of my lion puns. They'll be valuable later. No, they won't. Okay, now are you going down? She didn't get much of a meal. Unless there's still more and they're not that hungry. The lions will feed enthusiastically if they're hungry, but sometimes you see them make a kill when they're still quite full from the previous kill. Oh my goodness. This is really miserable weather. I have to drive back into that. It's really counterintuitive. I can only imagine what the weather's like on that side. I know that's exactly where Brent is, so I'm trying to stay curled up to hide from the wind. Let's go across to Brent to find out whether he's having an intense afternoon.
Well, we're on the edge of it. We're trying not to get into the middle of it. The worst of it's behind us, but as you can see, it's already raining, and we're trying to get... Now, the problem with this is now I actually can't really see where I'm going. I can see in front of me, but I can't really look around for stuff. Can you see out there, Craig? Up there. So we're trying to find the olololos. Insatiable would like to know, do we ever worry about lightning? Yes, of course we do. When the lightning is bad, we will power down our broadcast equipment so there's no electrical charge going through the aerials or antennas, and we will stay powered down if there's big lightning close to us. Okay, well, what's going on here? I think they look like the lines are quite spread out. Do you see anything yet, Craig? I see a hippo. All I see is a hippo. No, I think these guys are just looking at a hippo. Let's hope there's no one behind us. I think what I'm going to do... Actually, I'm going to wait for them to go past me. Okay, well the rain is getting a little bit worse now. We're going to try see if we can find the Olololo Pride somewhere in there. There we go, there we go. So while we do that, let's go back across to Jamie.
Oh dear, this weather's horrible. It's come gusting in, the trees are bent double, the dust is flying despite the fact that half of the roads are mud, still managing to kick up dust, and I'm getting out of here. So the lions are quite far away, obviously it's not the best. Same time I the gate and I know I'm going to be severely waylaid as I hit that storm. Oh good gracious. No, that was the first raindrop. I should be okay though. I can't believe how everything's changed. Everything's gone dark. Adrian has to turn on all the lights so that you can see me. I'm keeping my head down because of the way that the wind's blowing. It keeps wanting to blow my hat off. That, as you know, is where my microphone is, and if it blows my hat off, then if it was a pigeon, then I can't eat it, and that would be a tragedy. Oh. That's very pretty though. What do you think, Scylla? Oh, I actually caught on too late. I should have stopped a bit further back because we had some silhouettes of the zebra up against the hill. And a topi as well. And some impala. I should have registered that quicker. Oh, thunder's rumbling. Thunder's rumbling behind us. Oh gracious, it's quite a big storm. That's beautiful though.
Sure, they're where the cub is going into the long grass. I see an adult head just behind that mound where we can't see with the camera. Okay, just give me a moment to try reposition. Tell me when you've got a view there, Craig. I saw, there they are. Hello, Eloise wants to know whether any of the lions have names. Sorry, Eloise, this person just parked very close to me and I saw them at the last second. Eloise, yes, certain of the male lions have names and certain of the female lions have names, but most of them don't. So the dominant male lions that live around where Jamie was with the Paradise Pride, all of them have names: Hunter, Osiku, Morani, and Scarface. There's other male lions that have different names: Boxer, Nose, Lipstick, Blondie, I'm sure. There's got to be a blondie. There's a blondie everywhere. Some of the females that have names are generally from quite striking features. So there's a female called Jiko, which means eye, because she's only got one eye. So yes, there are names. To certain of the individuals, but not all of them. Okay, well, if Craig shows you a little bit to the right, we are right. Oh, there we go, lioness up. We're still on the edge of the storm, but there you can see where the main body of water is still, that little white there in the distance. And so we haven't been hit by the worst of it yet. If it does hit us, we might even have to close our little filming flap that we are filming out of the moment, or if the lions get moving, we're not going to be able to stay with them in this weather. So this is the Olololo Pride. And it does look like, unfortunately for us, we might have to get moving. Oh no, thankfully it's down again. But hopefully that rain changes direction at the last second. You can probably hear it getting a bit harder on the roof of our car. Oh, here it comes. Wildlife Warrior is wondering how long do the cubs nurse for. They will nurse till about 6 months old. That's when they lose their milk teeth and start getting their big kitty teeth. But yes, they will nurse till 6 months old. And they look like they've had a meal, nothing spectacular, but it looks like they might be heading in towards some thicker grass for shelter from the storm. Dale says, considering the weather, when is the best time of the year to come on safari in the Mara? 12 months of the year, of course, unless you want to see the migration, which is June, July, August, September. But the cats and everything are here all year round, and it rains all year round. So, but yes, June, July, August, September, that's when the great migration of wildebeests arrive, and you'll have a lot happier lions than these ones are at the moment. You can hear the thunder. Right above us. Liquid is wondering, do lions ever sleep in trees? Yes, they do. This pride is quite fond of sleeping in trees from time to time. Generally they will do it to get away from the biting insects or the heat. So yes, they do. Palin would like to know whether a monitor lizard would eat a lion cub. No, it would not even a baby. And not that I've ever heard of. Oh, that's, I think, one of almost our last lions sneaking off into the thicker grass. They don't look very happy with this weather, do they? Now, there's the next one heading towards where the rest of the pride seem to have found a slightly sort of protected area behind some thicker grass. Oh, accident. Sorry, there we go. Someone just drove into someone in front of us. And we are losing lions quite quickly. I think what they're going to do is hunker down. They're not too hungry, and try to stay out of the wind as much as possible. And they're all heading towards that really sort of thick grass. Okay, you can see they are slowly heading down towards where the rest of the pride are, and it's incredible. In this long grass they can disappear completely and utterly by just lying down. There we go, one more heading off towards the thicket. And we are left with one or none, I can't see. There we go, no, we've got two still left. And see how long there are. Three maybe still. Monique would like to know, does the longer and thicker grass help them stay dry? Not at all. It probably just protects them from the wind a little bit. And well, when you're wet, you don't want to be wet and blown cold by strong winds. Now there are two storms that are about to converge. The storm that we're in at the moment is coming from behind us, from the escarpment, and then you've got that wall of white that's heading across the open plain towards us at the moment. Excuse me. So we are stuck between two storms and between two cars. Oh, I think that one's nearly had enough. Is it time to move and join the others? Make a lion pile for warmth? Bobby would like to know, do I think if there was a man-made shelter they would use it? It depends, Bobby, it depends. They have been known to use the airstrip hangar at Serena from time to time, but maybe not. You don't know, to be honest. Oh dear. I hope this gentleman next to us doesn't slip into our car, so if you do hear a bang, that's what it is. There we go. Now we are left with one visible lioness. While the others have sought refuge in a thick patch of sedge grass by the looks of things. one lovely olololo lady too that can still be seen. So as you might have noticed, Djuma is not here. We're having some technical difficulties between Djuma and the Mara. So we're going to send you now for a quick tech break while we swap the main thingy-mabobby job, all that technical mumbo-jumbo, to Djuma. So hopefully we should see you again a little later.